Seatbelt malfunction. Welcome to the future.
Oh shit. What's up, everybody? Chat feed up. What's up, everybody? A lot of stuff today. I almost came home. I was like, damn, he ain't even showing up on the feeds yet. Oh, maybe I can rush home. It's like, nah, I'll just stay here. Oh, SRB's not feeling good. Thank you, Kib Kitty. Appreciate you putting that in there. What's up, Truthful Soul? Pam? Cassie? What's up, Ray? Thank you, Cassie. What's up, Lisa? Following Ray, huh? Silent plea today. We're gonna figure what all that means, and try and figure out this BK route. Man, SRV is not feeling good, huh? I got so much Enon stuff. So much. So I do want to get to that if we're able. We're going to cover the arraignment today, the silent plea. We're going to look through the route, do some live mapping, if y'all want to help me figure it out. And look through some of the PCA if we need to. I have it ready to go. I think we might need to, especially when it comes to this route stuff too. Might need it. And then we'll get into Enon with whatever time is left. We might even have to push a lot of it till tomorrow. We got so much stuff today. We'll get there though. Oh yeah, we'll be doing I'm gonna try to do that live because I should be live when that's going on. So we might pull away from our regularly scheduled programming and hop over there and see what he has to say. I'm kind of interested. You guys don't think he's gonna have anything to say though, huh? What's up, Lisa? Thank you. I appreciate you for bringing her over here, right? Having her check us out. Yeah. So, silent plea. What the hell? And I can't believe that. October 2nd already. I'm sure it'll get postponed and postponed. But I was pretty shocked to find out how quick that's going to be. I'm just going to take a look through the breaking real quick. Staying silent in court. We will play that one. Let's see. Maybe I'll start off with that one first. It's just a short little video. Oh, Crime Talk. Nice. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since we watched Crime Talk. Holy shit. Where in the hell's he been? I have not seen him pop up on my breaking news feed. Oh, wow. Ooh, there's a couple new things here. 1 second. Let's try to do all the prep I could before I got on. Thank you, Pam, for all those links too, by the way. I was able to get all those saved too. But I was literally doing prep, and then I get done. I was like, oh, let me check to see how much I have left. 21 seconds. I was like, oh, shit. Shit. What's up, Jinx? I was like, shit. 21 seconds left. So just forgive me for a moment here. Family reactions. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, there's a lot of arraignment, silent pleas stuff. So we'll try and we're going to have the Enon at the end of the night. But there is so much. I couldn't believe how much stuff there was so far, Pam. Oh, holy shit. So it might be a whole damn show. But if that Fox 59 episode's going to be going live with Doug Carter, we will be going live with it as well. Law and Crime Network. Yeah, I have a feeling half the show's going to be the arraignment. Let's see. Family members. Wow, there's some stuff I missed here. Let me see here. Jinx, I hope you got some rest. No, Pam. The sickness bug is going all over there. Sickness bug. I never caught on. Ray. Aw. Oh, the teasing part, you know? The teasing. I know you were. You're amazing, Jinx. You guys are crazy. Yes, 512, I think. 512. Put out a short video last night, Ray. I put out that highlight video last night. Ray's like, "Get some rest, man." Sorry, man. I'm just, I work, and then I got my regular job too. You know, work. I appreciate that, Jinx. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Kid Kitty. Thank you, everybody. You guys are more excited than I am. All right, I appreciate that. All right, let's get that space age funky beat going and we'll get into it. Man, we got so much stuff to get over. Get over the frickin' the folder. It's like jam-packed. Especially with today. All of this frickin' arraignment shit. Like silent plea. I've never even heard of that. But I am a noob. I'm a noob when it comes to all this shit. Oh, yeah. Hold on. All right, hold on. There we go. Thank you guys. You guys are the ones that hit the sub. You guys are the ones that hang out. You guys are the ones that comment on the videos. You guys are the ones that ask your friends to come check it out. You guys are the ones that help make chat so peaceful and positive and so welcoming. And so thank you guys. Not thank me. Thank you guys. Yeah, you guys. Because I'm just one person. You guys are everybody else. So it's you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All I do is show up, turn on the mic, turn on the stream, camera most of the time. And then we just chit chat. It's that brain stew I've been talking about since day one. Dang, we got so much stuff tonight. All right, let me get into the folder here. So much. Oh yeah, here, I gotta open up panel too. I can barely much let's count. Oh jeez. You guys are crazy. What's up, Cherry? What's up, Kevin? Ooh, I'm a little sniffly. BTK did same thing. BTK did same thing, huh? Well, I guess there's different camera angles or something. I don't know. You guys are going to have to help me go through it because there is so much. Let me see here. There's the link. Let me put the sign up. And then we'll get to sharing. Here, we'll put that up there too. All right, there's that. I accidentally reset all my layouts. I'm trying to like get it all set back up the way I had it. And I don't think that's it. What's up, Angelic? This by far is the most peaceful kind chat. See, that's what I'm saying, you guys. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. And even on all the other streamers shows and stuff, I mean, they always praise the show, the sarcasm, the comedy, the seriousness, and they always talk about the chat, like every time. So really, it's you. Yeah, Jinx, I was listening to the Murder Sheet podcast, the interview with him, Kagan Klein. I was listening, the Murder Sheet podcast on Spotify. I saw a thing pop up from Coach Kev, and I was like, "Oh, the Murder Sheet talked to Keegan." I always say it wrong. The Murder Sheet talked to Kagan Klein. I was like, "Ooh, shit! Let me hear that." That is true. Yeah, it's about protecting the atmospheres because it's because of you guys. I could ask you stuff all day, and it's you guys. It's you guys. Kagan. Which one? Keegan? What's up, SRB? I heard you're not feeling well. Well, get some rest. We have so much stuff. I know you wanted to get into this Enon stuff, and we'll try, but I don't know if we're gonna make it because we got a lot of stuff on this arraignment. A hell of a lot more than I even anticipated. Honestly, I thought we would be covering it in about like 20 minutes of the show. Last night, I'm like, it'll take up about 20 minutes. BK's route, maybe 45 to get it all mapped out. And then we'll do a little bit of the PCA and Enon. And then as the day's going on, I'm like, holy crap. Half the show's going to be about the arraignment. So, a lot of stuff about the arraignment. We might as well talk about it. It just happened today. I almost came home to stream it. Reflection is CJ. That's right. Exactly, Ray. Exactly. It's a collective effort. And some mashed potatoes, and that's ooh. I mean, mashed potatoes are good. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like dudes like 5'3". Oh, it's so funny. It is crazy how Hollywood could do that shit though, right? You could do that shit. All right, let me see here. Some family members emotional. So this is KTVB. We got a freaking crime talk in here. I can't wait. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since we heard from Scott Reich. Watch Scott Reich crime talk. Can't wait. We're going to watch this one first, though. KTVB, and then I'm going to adjust all my shit on here. I need to quit messing with shit. Then you won't lose it all, CJ.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in a home near campus in November is back in a Latah County courtroom this morning. 28-year-old Brian Kohberger was arraigned on 5 charges, 1 count of burglary and 4 first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. When asked if he wanted to enter a plea, Kohberger chose to stay silent. Our Morgan Romero was in the court for that short hearing this morning. She is live now outside the Latah County courthouse. Morgan, what does that mean that he stood silent?
Why is this video so choppy?
So, Doug, during his short arraignment, about 15 minutes here at the Latah County Courthouse this morning, Kohberger's defense stood up and told the judge that Kohberger chose to stay silent. Effectively, the judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf, and the case moves forward and it goes to trial. We got here around 6:20 a.m. Pacific time. We lined up outside the courthouse with other local, regional, national, even international media. Some of the victims' family members were also here. They wanted to sit in on the arraignment and see the man suspected of killing their loved ones for the first time since January.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Kohberger appeared in a Latah County courtroom wearing an orange
That looks
jumpsuit
good.
on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record in State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger.
As the judge read the names of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, some family members there grew emotional, wiping tears from their eyes. Kohberger's arraignment comes just 1 week after a grand jury formally indicted him on the 5 charges he already faced. Community members on the grand jury believed prosecutors showed enough evidence to move forward with the case and bring it in front of a district court judge.
Excuse me.
Judge John Judge read Kohberger his rights and explained the first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum?
What's up, Cleo? Thank you.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
And because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Standing silent.
Ada County Chief Deputy Prosecutor Gene Fisher told silent doesn't hurt the defendant. Quote, if anything, standing silent could help the defense if they intended to file a motion of Kohberger's competency. They wouldn't want him assisting the court by answering legal questions and then turn around and file a motion saying...
What? If anything, standing silent could help the defense if they intended to file a motion of BK's competency. What? Not presently competent to stand trial? the fuck? What the fuck? I've never heard that. I didn't hear nothing about competency. Uh-huh.
Saying he's not presently competent to stand trial. The state has 60 days now to decide whether they plan to seek the death penalty. The judge set Kohberger's trial for October 2nd, giving both sides 5 months to prepare their cases.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
It's expected.
Well, he was competent to fucking hear instructions. What? Hold on. What the fuck? I gotta hear what this guy's saying again. I didn't hear it in the beginning. I was too busy switching screens and shit. Oh my lord. I want to... Yeah, I guess there's different camera angles. Thank you for hopping in. Different camera angles. What's up, Grizz? What the hell? So what is he gonna... Right, Cleo? I didn't hear nothing about that. This is just some local TV fucking station. I wonder if there's freaking anybody else talking about this shit, because I didn't hear about it. What? Also, his way to be able to plead no contest later as well, which could save his ass, according to Harsh Reality. So is there, hey, if there's a video, I might not have got it because I wasn't able to do my normal prep today. So I might not have got it. I really did try. I might not have got that one. If you have the link, let me, if you can send it to me, please. If not, I can go to his page and look for it. Yeah, I had not fucking heard that. That is fucking crazy. I did not hear that at all. I'm gonna hold on. Let me hear what this guy says. The harsh okay. Truthful soul. You like talking Idaho 4? Check this shit out. If you hadn't heard it yet. I don't know if you have or not, because I didn't until we just heard it. But this shit's crazy. What the heck? Check this out. Thank you, SRB. We'll get into that one next. Hold on. My YouTube's bugging. I'm trying to get my camera to connect here. I don't know why. Like it. The last week and a half, it like connects and then it don't connect. There we go. StreamYard.
The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in a home near campus in November was back in a Latah County courtroom this morning. 28-year-old Brian Kohberger was arraigned on 5 charges, 1 count of burglary and 4 first-degree murder charges in the deaths of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Keely Gonsalves. When asked if he wanted to enter a plea, Kohberger chose to stay silent. Our Morgan Romero was in the court for that short hearing this morning. She is live now outside the Latah County Courthouse. Morgan, what does that mean that he stood silent?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
So, Doug, during his short arraignment, about 15 minutes here at the Latah County Courthouse this morning, Kohberger's defense stood up and told the judge that Kohberger chose to stay silent. Effectively, the judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf, and the case moves forward and it goes to trial. We got here around 6:20 a.m. Pacific time. We lined up outside the courthouse with other local, regional, national, even international media. Some of the victims' family members were also here. They wanted to sit in on the arraignment and see the man suspected of killing their loved ones for the first time since January.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Kohberger appeared in a Latah County.
What kind of walk is that? Like you lay down a lot or something, huh?
And see the man suspected of killing their loved ones for the first time since January.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Kohberger appeared in a Latah County courtroom, wearing an orange jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record.
That must be like a nervous grin or something, because you notice every time he looks over, he kind of like shakes his head and grins. It's got to be nerves. Because you go back to the other court appearance, and he does the same thing. Like whenever he looks over, he goes.
Okay, we are now on the record in state.
Yeah, see, real quick. It's got to be like a nervous thing. Watch, he just shuts it off real quick.
Jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record in.
Wow, that is fucking quick as shit. That is quick.
County courtroom, wearing an orange jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on.
Damn, that needs to be a screenshot right there, y'all. Screenshot. Give me 1 second. Damn, he shuts that shit off quick as shit. Shuts that off quick as shit. Creepy as hell. Look at that. And it's like a split second, too. Judge apologized, said Hard Law Network had a great clip. See, I didn't really even get to hear it. In my opinion, I can hear him thinking, I will show you. Yeah, I could see that too. The shackle shuffle. But look at his chest, though. I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like his chest, his back. He almost walked like he's laying down or not. Not the feet part, but like the chest. You know how he like does this shit. It does, but man, he shuts that shit off real quick. Lisa. Oh, y'all are fucking funny. I mean, quick as shit. One more time and that's it. I promise. This is the last time.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Kohberger appeared in a Latah County courtroom.
It's laying down
wearing
too
an orange
much.
jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record.
Boom.
In, state of Idaho.
Shuts it down. Look at that.
Kohberger.
As the judge read
Instant.
the names of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, some family members there grew emotional, wiping tears from their eyes. Kohberger's arraignment comes just 1 week after a grand jury formally indicted him on the 5 charges he already faced. Community members
A bulletproof vest in the courtroom? I don't know. I mean, he did have one when he got transferred. I don't know about a courtroom, though. You think so? Do you think they would have him in a vest in the courtroom? I'm not sure. I know they added next short BK. Don't make me keep going back to it. Because after that last one played, I'm going to be honest with you, SRB. After that last one played, I was like, damn, I want to play it again. Oh. Because I noticed something else. And I'm like, shit, but I already told him it was the last time. Nope, I'm not going to do it. Just keep going. Oops, just keep going. Just keep going. The back of the shirt looks puffy. Really? No shit, Kid Kitty. In the fucking courtroom? All right, I'm gonna play it one more time. Let me watch him come back.
Their loved ones for the first time since January.
Okay.
6 months after police say he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students.
I see it now. I see what you mean. It does have that outline appearance to it here.
Months.
It does look pretty puffy right here on the chest, and man, look at him. He's just dead stare straight down. He's not even, so he's basically just looking at the floor as he's coming in, ain't he? He's just looking at the floor. He's not trying to make, oop. Now, he probably made eye contact with somebody right there. He probably made eye contact with somebody right there. He's looking straight ahead. Now he looks down. So it looked like he got nervous. Watch. It looks like he comes in looking straight ahead, blinks a couple times like he got nervous, his eyes change, and then he looks down. Watch this.
6 months after
Then he doesn't give eye
police say
contact.
he stabbed 4 University of Idaho students to death, Brian Kohberger appeared in a Latah
All right, I
County
won't play it
courtroom,
no more.
wearing an orange jumpsuit on his thin frame and shackles on his feet.
Okay, we are now on the record in State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger.
As the judge read the names of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, some family members there grew emotional, wiping tears from their eyes. Kohberger's arraignment comes just 1 week after a grand jury formally indicted him on the 5 charges he already faced. Community members on the grand jury believed prosecutors showed enough evidence to move forward with the case and bring it in front of a district court judge. Judge John Judge read Kohberger his rights and explained the first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge?
Wait a minute. When I saw the clip, it showed her sitting on the left side and some dude sitting on the right. So what? Because I know I didn't get to check it all out. So you missed me going over. Pay him. You didn't miss much, Ray.
The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree?
Wow, he answered that shit before the judge was even done. See, look, he's like doing his little...
Kohberger his rights and explained the grand jury formally indicted him
He's
on
doing
the
his
5
little
charges he
jaw
already
shit.
faced. Community members on the grand jury believed prosecutors showed enough evidence to move forward with the case and bring it in front of a district court judge. Judge John Judge read Kohberger his rights and explained the first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Former Ada County.
Well, you know, he wasn't shaven before this court appearance because of what happened last time. I don't blame him. Them razors gotta suck. And I wouldn't want to be showing up to court with, you know, like blood all over my face and shit. He answered the judge before the judge was even done. Seemed competent. I don't know. I don't understand this whole competent thing.
Life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was
Yeah,
ready
he
to
keeps
plead.
licking.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor,
Is he on? Look, he's doing it again. Is that medication? Could that be medication? I wonder if he's doing a silent plea because he's on some kind of medication right now. And he doesn't want to make a plea while on medication. That could be where the competency comes in, I bet. And I'm wondering, because it's like he's cottonmouth from medication, right? Just think about people who take medication that get cottonmouth. And that's why you wouldn't be competent to enter a plea, because of being under the influence of medication.
Week after a grand jury indicted him on the charge he already faced. Community members on the grand jury believed prosecutors showed enough evidence to move forward with the case and bring it in front of a district court judge. Judge John Judge read Kohberger his rights and explained the first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared?
It's like medication.
To plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each.
So how can you answer yes that you understand So how could you answer yes? It would be like, you know, pleading the fifth, right? You can't plead the fifth and then answer a question, right? I don't think he's allowed candy or gum. I don't know. To me, it looks like cottonmouth. Let me look at that again.
Of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Former Ada.
Okay, if he's chewing gum, this part of the jaw is gonna come out.
The first-degree murder charges he faces carry a penalty of life in prison or death. The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
And because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each.
I don't think it's gum. Nothing. And I'm telling you, from the hair down to his chin, nothing. It was all in the front. Look. Look like I'm chewing something? Probably. I don't know. I don't think it's gum. That's my opinion, though. I was looking. We'll watch it again. I did not see any movement whatsoever in this part of the face. It was all in the front. Let me get to chat here. He's clenched. I'm thinking it's got to be cottonmouth from medication. Because why else? Okay, we're going to get to this part of the video, but why else would... Cleo. I'm like, what did Cleo say? Oh my gosh. No, for real. Look at this though. Here, I'll give you the link to this video too. Save it to your playlist. Check it out. Like, zoom in on that shit. I'm telling you, none of this moves. It's all in the front. I don't. Maybe it is gum. I'm just feeling it's not. I'm feeling like, because, and the only reason I thought that was because of what we saw after this part where they talk about competency. So then I'm like, wait a minute. You can't be competent if you're taking medication you're normally not used to taking or whatever. You just got prescribed. So you're not going to be under the right state of mind to make a decision about your future. I don't know. Something's weird.
The judge then asked if Kohberger was ready to plead.
Just watch.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
And because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Former Ada County Chief Deputy Prosecutor Gene Fisher told me standing silent doesn't hurt the defendant. Quote, if anything, standing silent could help the defense if they intended to file a motion of Kohberger's competency. They wouldn't want him assisting the court by answering legal questions and then turn around and file a motion saying he's not presently competent to stand trial.
See what I'm saying? What else? Listen, read that and tell me what else it could be. What else could it be? Like, seriously, what else could it be? If he is claiming and assertive about being innocent, exonerated, and then all of a sudden, I'm not coming out saying, not guilty. And then this? What else could it be? My client started taking medication after he came to Idaho in incarceration because my client is not guilty, and now he's suffering from this and this and this and this and this and this, so he has to take medication, so he's not able. I don't know. something. I don't know, something. Watch, there'll be some shit come out that he's on some kind of medication from being incarcerated. Watch.
Trial.
Y'all
The
think
state
I'm...
has 60 days now to decide whether they plan to seek the death penalty. The judge set Kohberger's trial for October 2nd, giving both sides 5 months to prepare their cases.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
It's expected to last 6
See,
weeks.
he understood
that
all
timeline could
that.
always change between now and then. 2 other hearings happened after the arraignment, one regarding the media and Gonsalves family's fight against the gag order in this case.
There's a lot of potential irreparable harm from media that is affecting a fair trial.
The third hearing Monday morning.
Whoa, look at this. A straight fucking... Does anybody have this one? I didn't see this one come across. I saw the live... Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. He didn't give a plea because he thinks he will be exonerated. Yeah, but... What do you mean by that, Cherry Cherry? Man, I gotta take a screenshot of that, too.
Set for arguments over evidence. Kaylee's family shared a statement with me saying it's important we keep the victims' memories alive. They're grateful for the grand jury indictment, but are disappointed the judicial process hasn't been more efficient in changing the gag order. This weekend, Madison's dad shared with NBC how special his daughter was.
I want people to remember Maddie as just being a loving, caring, just beautiful person who everybody just misses so much, and we're just all so proud of. And this has been the most difficult thing that any of us will ever through, and it's just important to stay close to your loved ones and your family in times like this. I would say, I mean, a lot of us are going to counseling. I've gone to counseling, and it's helped a lot, just being able to talk about things and remember her in the best way that we can. And
haven't heard from him in a while.
Yeah, the victim's family and friends saying they want the victims in this case to be remembered and less of the attention being focused on the defendant. Back here in Moscow, not a lot of students here as school got out a little more than a week ago. Last Saturday, all 4 victims in these stabbings were honored with posthumous degrees during the spring commencement. By the way, it is possible that Brian Kohberger's trial moves out of Latah County and down to Ada County, or another county in Idaho, where there's a better chance at finding a fair and impartial jury. And the Gonsalves family said it really well today, Doug. They said today is just the beginning of a long journey for all the families involved in this tragedy.
No doubt about that. And Morgan, these decisions will play out over the course of like several hearings leading up to that October date, right?
That's right. There's going to be hearings on motions to compel discovery. Again, it's possible that the defense files that notice of intent to seek the death penalty. It's possible that Kohberger at any point could change his plea. So really, there's a lot that we don't know that's going to come out between now and October. And again, as I mentioned in my story, it's possible that that October trial date even gets pushed back a little bit further too. But we will be staying posted on all the documents that are filed, the motions, the orders, as well as any hearings that are set here in Latah County between now and then.
All right, Morgan Romero live.
Or is he working on a plea bargain? Maybe he's working on a plea bargain. Because he didn't come out and say not guilty. And why would he need to worry about changing his plea if he's not guilty? So maybe he knows his ass is grass. You don't think so, Angelic? He knows his ass is grass and just take the death penalty off? No way, no way. What could it be? What could it be? Like medication? I mean, what could it be? It makes no sense. I don't know. We'll look into it. All right, so there's that one. We're going to check out Crime Talk, Scott Reich. I don't know. It just don't make sense to me. I get medication. Why else? Why would you not plead not guilty, right? But I'm not an attorney, so I don't know. All right, we're going to go to Crime Talk. Let me get the link so I can put it up on the TV screen. Crime Talk, one of the best YouTube channels. And his freaking sarcasm is the shit. That's why he wants to get away with it. All right, let's see here. Crime Talk. It's been a long time, Scott Reich. I can't wait. And he's talking Kohberger, no plea, no problem. Let's talk about it.
Brian Kohberger refuses to enter a plea in court today, so the court does it for him. Dads sometimes have to give this advice. Lori Vallow. Brian Kohberger. Well, how can I say this? This guy's just getting a little more creepy as things go along. Obviously, we're going to give him the presumption of innocence. And last week we weren't able to talk about it because I was in trial. Man. But that's right. Brian Kohberger was indicted. What's the difference between a complaint and information? The district attorney signs it, says that it is true, that they believe the allegations are true, and the probable cause exists. The judge kind of gives it the rubber stamp. There you go. You've got a case. The defendant is then entitled to a preliminary hearing. Well, a defendant can also be indicted. Sometimes an indictment cannot be easily had, particularly in smaller jurisdictions. They have to assemble the grand jury. And when they do that, and a true bill is returned in an indictment, that means that the defendant no longer gets his preliminary hearing. So that court date in the end of June for Brian Kohberger, not going to happen. So nothing too surprising. The indictment is exactly the same as the complaint and information. Count 1, burglary, alleges that Brian Kohberger on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully, which means without legal permission or justification, entered the residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. Count 2, Brian Kohberger did deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, did kill and murder Madison Mogen. Count 3, same thing, murder Kaylee Gonsalves. Count 4, murder in the first degree, Zana Kernodle. Count 5, murder in the first degree, Ethan Chapin. All of which is contrary to the form, force, and effect of the statute in such case made and provided and against the peace and dignity of the state of Idaho. So what that means is that Brian Kohberger needs to be brought before the court as expeditiously as possible. He was brought before the court today where he's supposed to enter a plea, say not guilty. Well, guess what? The man accused of those 4 deaths stood silent. According to his attorney, they intended to do that, which is kind of odd in my humble opinion. But the reality of it is that now the speedy trial begins. A couple of things of great significance here. The prosecutor now has 60 days in which to file a notice that they're going to seek the death penalty or whether they're not going to seek the death penalty. Additionally, the state now has 6 months from today's date to get Mr. Kohberger to trial. Now, obviously, Mr. Kohberger can, in fact, waive speedy trial, but frankly, I just don't see how that helps him in any way whatsoever. The evidence is what it is. If not, go try the case if it's not going to get any better. Kohberger appeared with his defense attorney, Ann Taylor, and they told the judge that they were going to stand silent at this time. So the court then said, fine, then I will enter not guilty pleas on Mr. Kohberger's behalf. He did decline to waive his right to a speedy trial. And so trial is scheduled to begin October 2nd of 2023, which will be here in no time. Now, the trial is expected to last 6 weeks. Now, I understand district attorneys always take longer and they estimate longer because they don't want to run out of time that the court allotted. I just don't see this taking 6 weeks to do this trial, but we'll have to wait and see if it in fact is going to take 6 weeks. And for those who aren't familiar, obviously Kohberger was a graduate student studying criminology at the nearby Washington State University when the University of Idaho students were killed, but prosecutors have not released much information about how they believe Kohberger may have chosen the victims or whether they had met previously. Police released few details about the investigation until Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in East Pennsylvania back on December 30th of 2022. And court documents have detailed how police pieced together DNA evidence, cell phone data, and surveillance video that they say links Kohberger to the slayings. Investigators said that they found traces of DNA on a knife sheath inside the home where the students were killed that matched Kohberger, and a cell phone belonging to Kohberger was near the victim's home on a dozens occasions of killings. And a white sedan was allegedly matches the one owned by Kohberger was caught on surveillance footage repeatedly cruising past the rental house around the same time of the killing. Now, they have cell phone records that apparently this phone was off, but it turned back on, which would have been about the same time for him to drive back to Washington. But the damning evidence was apparently there's a little DNA on this sheath. Right? This is the K-bar. This is what it looks like. This is the sheath that it comes in. Every Marine, as far as I've ever known, had a K-bar. But every Marine has them just because of the tradition of the Marine Corps. They were big back in World War II. But look what happens when you hit the tab there. Ooh, guess right. Your DNA could transfer right there on the little tab. Ooh, don't you just hate that pesky DNA? It's tough to explain why your DNA was found in a knife sheath that allegedly matches maybe a weapon used in the crime scene. Now, we'll give you the presumption of innocence, but your attorney's going to have some work to do. Now, the courtroom was apparently packed today, most of it being members of the media, and we'll have to see whether these proceedings will require a change of venue and whether that change of venue will take place rather early in the proceedings, or if we're going to have to wait till the very end, as we did in the Lori Vallow trial. Now, here's some stuff that came out last week in the news as well. And there's a report that says that Brian Kohberger allegedly broke into a woman's home before the Idaho murders took place. And like I said, this is some sort of creepy, weird thing. And it was stuff around an attempt to make her fear for her life. Now, this somewhat unusual claim came out in an episode of NBC's Dateline, and it alleges that Kohberger became friends with a girl at the Washington State University where he was enrolled just months before the fatal Idaho stabbings there at the university. And it's alleged he allegedly snuck into her place and moved her belongings in order to make her feel uneasy at home. Now, this little event, I guess, if you want to call it that, allegedly.
Man, you know how much shit in that Dateline documentary was thinking they thought? It's a whole bunch of assumptions. Great production. I thought some of it did have some interesting stuff I'd never heard before, or they talked to people I had never heard of or seen. But if you key into a lot of their words, a source says that they think. A source says that they think BK broke in and moved stuff around so then that friend would call him to hook up surveillance. Think they thought BK just watch it again and just pay attention. Just write down how many times they say think or thinking or thought. You'd be like, holy shit. You'd be like, damn, that's a lot. Almost like looking up sex offender near me when you're, trying to see where your kids are going. What the hell? Same thing. How many times think and thought are in that Dateline document? Man, come on, Scott. Quit regurgitating some shit.
Worked because she helped set up a security camera as a result. Something he could have later checked out remotely after learning her Wi-Fi password. Weird, to say the least. I don't know.
And I don't know. People need to stop talking about the phone supposedly trying to connect to the Wi-Fi hotspot all these times. I don't even know who fucking connects to mine. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Scott even said it himself a long ass time ago because he had a client that he represented in an unaliving case with a weapon. Right? And they were trying to pin his client down off a cell phone pinging. And Scott Reich said that he got his client off because he got the expert to testify that his client could have been 30 blocks away when the crime took place, when his phone, quote, pinged him at the crime scene. The expert could not disagree with Scott with the claim that his client could have been 30 blocks down the frickin' way. Connecting to Wi-Fi's. Come on.
No. Just me. Just look a little weird and creepy in his little jail garb there. Not looking so confident today, did he, in court? So we'll give Brian Kohberger the presumption of innocence. We'll see how things work out for him. But at least we're moving forward. And hopefully we're going to be able to see cameras in the courtroom. I know there was a hearing regarding the cameras in the courtroom, but I am not aware of the results just yet. And, I wasn't even supposed to be in the office today. Thank goodness I had a tie because I got a call today because the United States attorney on a case was supposed to notify me that they were going to arrest my client. We would surrender the client instead of having him be arrested. And I get a call today saying, no, your client's been arrested. And 20 minutes after I find that out from the courts, the U.S. attorney's like, hey, your guy's in custody. I'm like, hey, thanks. Insert word. I appreciate all the heads up. Anyway, you wonder why you don't trust people in the government. It's stuff like that. It's not a political thing. It's just, you just don't trust them. It's just the way it is.
Dang. Dang, he gets crabby. He really does. All right, this is a link from SRB. Thank you. All right, what do you got for me?
So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Now, I'm guessing that the vast majority of you, let's say 99% of you, will have seen the ground, and guessing there'll be two camps now. There'll be those that are absolutely confused as to what just happened, and there'll be the other people who will take what happened as an admission of utter guilt. But look, this is what happened. So Brian Kohberger goes in and he has read everything that he's being charged with, and he stares silently forward. He does not enter a plea. That is correct. He doesn't enter a guilty or not guilty plea. Now, what does that mean? Is that an admission of guilt? Now, some may say it is. Some people say that silence only favors the guilty. And hey, maybe they're right. But this could also be a very strategic move, because let's not forget that Brian Kohberger, as we went up to what was happening in this case, we was at a day where they were battling over the evidence put forward against him. Now, it could be has remains because at this stage he does not want to plead guilty or not guilty, because later on he could indeed file a no contest. That's like saying, look, I didn't do it, but the evidence is, I can't argue the evidence. I'm snookered. I'm snookered. And perhaps he feels that that may later on down the line save his life in the event that he is found guilty. Now, I'm not a professional in law, so I don't know how that works.
What? I don't understand.
But the fact that he has not pled not guilty.
What the what? What did he just?
Favors the guilty and forward. He does not enter a plea. That is correct. He doesn't enter a guilty or not guilty plea. Now, what does that mean? Is that an admission of guilt? Now, some may say it is. Some people say that silence only favors the guilty. And hey, maybe they're right. But this could also be a very strategic move, because let's not forget that Brian Kohberger, as we went up to what was happening in this case, we was at a stage where they were battling over the evidence put forward against him. Now, it could be that Brian Kohberger has remained silent because at this stage he does not want to plead guilty or not guilty, because later on he could indeed file a no contest. That's like saying, look, I didn't do it, but the evidence is, I can't argue the evidence.
I didn't do it, but I can't argue the evidence? What is? If you can't argue the evidence, then yeah, you fucking did it. I don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that means. I didn't do it, but I can't argue the evidence. So, I don't get it.
I'm snookered.
I don't get it.
Perhaps he feels that that may later on down the line save his life in the event that he is found guilty. Now, I'm not a professional in law, so I don't know how that.
I'm not either. The guy is talking about an Alfred plea. I've heard of that before. Alfred plea. Let me finish this video and we'll look that up.
What?
By pleading no contest in criminal action, the defendant gains another benefit, namely that he or she avoids having a guilty plea used against them in another cause of action. Oh. Oh, so even if he's found not guilty, then so even if he's found not guilty, he avoids a civil suit. Yeah, what's up, baby? Interesting. Wow. Either he's fucking smart or his attorney is one of them. That's a power move right there. They are fucking playing ball, aren't they? Prosecution and the defense, they are playing freaking ball. Damn.
But the fact that he has not pled not guilty, to me, seems very strategic. I do feel that if he was indeed not guilty, he should have been shouting from the rooftops. And I know people will say that.
That's what I was
equally,
saying.
I understand fully the implications that would have on him if he pleads not guilty, but the evidence is unbeatable. You know, if he has been there, if he has been going to this property, if he was in the area that night and there is nobody else and he has no way to explain it, and he was doing something perhaps that he shouldn't have been doing, but at the end of the day, he knows because of his knowledge of the law that he is well and truly fucked, then where do you go with that? If you know, because of your knowledge of how the system works, that you are fighting an unbeatable system, then your only option is to either plead guilty or stay quiet. But let's not forget, if you plead guilty, you are saying, yes, I did it. I did this crime. I did it.
What's up, Chris?
So, we don't really know. We're left wondering. But I know that there will be people that take this silence as a form of guilt. But let me just put this to you. Everybody has said that Brian Kohberger is narcissistic. He wants to be the cleverest person in the room. Now, could it be remaining silent? He feels that he is keeping control of the situation. Who knows? Or could some people turn around and say, if he is this arrogant person, maybe he would have just walked in there and said, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I did it. Who knows? But the court date, we do at the moment have a court date. Now, whether we'll get to that date and that will be adjourned and that will be delayed for a long period of time, who knows? But it is October 2nd that they are looking to start the trial. So very, very rapid, which to me says that the prosecution are very, very confident in a conviction. So look, the fact that he hasn't pleaded, they want a speedy trial, clearly, because they are starting in October. The battle starts.
Yeah, they do.
But, like I say, is this a strategic move by Brian Kohberger?
Right, is the defense doing it so that the prosecution doesn't have more time? Is that what they're doing? Doing it so the prosecution doesn't have as much time to get their shit? Standing silent is not entering a plea. Making the judge do it for you. Alfred plea is when you can't prove you didn't do it, but refuse to say you're guilty. Very interesting. That's why they're insisting on the speedy trial. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, I did a special on her a while back. Pretty crazy. Way, like, I didn't realize she studied and wrote books about so many different categories, even paranormal. I was like, wow, no way.
Kohberger trying to keep his cards close to his chest? Is he staying silent because he simply doesn't have all the information as we were led to believe as he was heading into this? And does he yet not know what he's up against? And is that his
Right.
argument? Has he been advised to not say anything, to uphold that you have the right to remain silent? Because after all, it does carry on through the entire situation. Is this going to be something that we do now see throughout the entire trial? Will Brian Kohberger now be completely silent and not say anything to anyone anymore? Let me know down below what you think. What does this mean to you? If you felt that he was innocent before, have you changed your mind? Has it helped if you are one of the people who believe that he was absolutely the only person? Or, as a final thought, could this mean that Brian Kohberger is indeed pointing to the fact that he was involved, but there was more people involved, and he wants to get to court to tell the entire story? And he knows that in the event that he says guilty, they may not get, or he may not get to tell his side of the story. Is anyone really interested at this stage in his?
That's crazy. Yeah, she is an interesting character, Chris. I can see why though. She seems to be like a very I mean, when you look at all the other stuff that she studies and writes books on, probably just a really curious person. So this is the Alford plea. Here's the link in chat. No, he don't. And then when he does see me, just kind of. In United States law, an Alford plea, also called a Kennedy plea in West Virginia, an Alford guilty plea, and the Alford doctrine, whereby a defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal act and asserts innocence, but admits that the evidence presented by the prosecution would be likely to persuade a judge or jury to find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This can be caused by circumstantial evidence and testimony favoring the prosecution, and difficulty finding evidence and witnesses that would aid the defense. Alford pleas are legally permissible in nearly all U.S. federal and state courts, except in the state courts of Indiana, Michigan, and New Jersey, or in the courts of the United States Armed Forces. So the Alford guilty plea is named after the United States Supreme Court case of North Carolina v. Alford, 1970. Henry Alford had been indicted on a charge of first-degree unaliving in 1963. Evidence in the case included testimony from witnesses that Alford had said after the victim's unaliving that he had unalived the individual. Court testimony showed that Alfred and the victim had argued at the victim's house. Alfred left the house, and afterwards the victim received a fatal wound when he opened the door, responding to a knock. Alfred was faced with the possibility of capital punishment if convicted by a jury trial. The death penalty was the default sentence by North Carolina law at the time. If two requisites in the same case were satisfied, the defendant had to have pleaded not guilty, and the jury did not instead recommend a life sentence. He had pleaded guilty to first degree unaliving. Alfred would have had the possibility of a life sentence and would have avoided the death penalty, but did not want to admit guilt. Nonetheless, Alfred pleaded guilty to second degree and said he was doing so to avoid a death sentence were he to be convicted of first degree. After attempting to contest that charge, Alfred was sentenced to 30 years in prison. After the trial, judge accepted the plea bargain and ruled that the defendant had been adequately advised by his defense lawyer. Alfred appealed and requested a new trial, arguing he was forced into a guilty plea because he was afraid of receiving a death sentence. The Supreme Court of North Carolina ruled that the defendant had voluntarily entered the guilty plea with knowledge of what that meant. Alfred's plea was not voluntary because it was made under fear of the death penalty. The case was appealed. And the Supreme Court held that his guilty plea was allowable, while the defendant himself still maintained that he was not guilty. He passed away in prison in 1975. Interesting. Obsessive, that's a good word for it too. That's crazy, SRB. That too, yeah. There's some manipulating motherfuckers, you know. Yeah, same here, Ava. The psychology part of it. Yeah, it's the deeper the other dimension, you know what I'm saying? I'm curious how a mind can get that way and what may have been the first signs. I would think it would have to be. I don't know. This is my opinion, and I'm no freaking scientist or nothing, but I would feel that it would have to be a traumatic event that took place during the very early stages of development. So maybe something inside the womb up to a year old, maybe. Somewhere in that time period where everything is still like total, like, you know, because when you hit 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, you know, it's, yeah, of course, everything. But I'm saying womb to age 1. I would think that something traumatic happens at that period that then it gets wired differently. So during the process of all the wires getting connected, womb or up to age 1, all the wires are in the process of getting connected still, and then some of them don't get connected right. And then those weird connectors sit there until it matures, and then the thoughts, the obsessions, from the weird wiring. So when your brain starts to mature more and you understand maybe thoughts and dreams and shit as you start to get older in age, then you start to those weird connections then start to manifest themselves into actual thoughts and actions and obsessions and desires and urges and all of those things. But I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I just feel it would have to be somewhere in that early stage. Who knows? You know what I mean? It could even be like, parents fighting and one of them's smashing dishes all the time and the baby's like 2 months old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just weird. I don't know. Seem to be empathetic, right? Some have those wires connected, and then some of them are like this. I don't know. All right, let's get back into this. Oh, it put me at the top again. That's weird. It was sitting at the bottom all ready to go. Thanks for that, Ava. Because I'm like, what the hell is it? Is it medication? Like, what the... Is he trying to like make a deal or something? Like, now it makes perfect sense. He's saving his ass for a civil lawsuit. Smart guy. Or attorney. Because, he was adamant to his other public defender in PA about putting stuff in a statement. So, you never know. Creme 2 News. Here's what happened at Brian Kohberger's arraignment.
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Earlier today, the man suspected of murdering 4 University of Idaho students stood silent as a judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Creme 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. That's suspect Brian Kohberger appearing in court for the first time in more than 5 months. This after a grand jury indicted him for those charges related to the murders of Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, and Xana Kernodle last November. We do have Creme 2 crews down in Moscow bringing you team coverage tonight.
Janelle Finch has been gathering reaction from Moscow. Let's start, though, with Amanda Rowley, who is inside the courtroom. And Amanda, can you explain what it means to stand silent on the charges?
Yeah, that's right, Mark and Whitney. That's something I've never heard before in my time working in Spokane County courts, but it does happen. Here's how it works. They're in an arraignment. A suspect is asked to enter a guilty or not guilty plea, which are the only 2 pleas here in Idaho that Idaho courts recognize. But a suspect can also choose to stand silent or stand mute, which means to say nothing and not take a stance on being guilty or not guilty. In this case, in this morning's arraignment, Brian Kohberger chose to stand in silence and not enter a plea. And so that then set in motion, the judge must then enter a not guilty plea on his behalf.
According to the indictment from the grand jury, Brian Kohberger faces 5 charges, 1 count for burglary and 4 counts of first-degree murder. This morning, the judge entered a not guilty plea on Kohberger's behalf on all these charges. Then we heard what the maximum penalties are if he is found guilty of all charges in a consecutive sentence.
It could be facing 10 years and followed by 4 consecutive life sentences or death penalties. Fines of up to $200,000 and $20,000 to be paid directly to the families.
We're still waiting to find out if this is going to be a death penalty case. We'll know more in the next 60 days. Then that's the deadline for the Utah County prosecutors to file their intent to seek the death penalty. We know there's a strong possibility this will be a death penalty case. That's because the county entered an agreement months ago to find a defense attorney who is qualified to represent a client who could face the death penalty. The arraignment this morning wasn't Kohberger's only hearing today. He returned to the court about 30 minutes later for 2 additional hearings focused on the gag order in the trial and a motion to compel discovery. The gag order was put in place by the original judge in this case. Today was a scheduling hearing for 2 different issues. The first, the Gonsalves family attorney wants clarity so he can speak on behalf of his clients.
I'm just addressing a couple of clarifications and amendments that would allow myself as an attorney to speak on behalf of my clients.
The second was a media coalition fighting for more public information to be released in the case.
Was he just fucking grinning right there?
To speak on behalf of my clients.
The second was...
He's fucking grinning. He's looking right at the damn camera and fucking grinning. Whoa. That's fucking creepy.
Was a media coalition fighting for more public information to be released in the case. The judge did not make any decisions today on the gag order, but he scheduled both motion hearings on June 9th.
Wow.
Now, the trial for Brian Kohberger is going to be here sooner than you think. Today, the judge scheduled the start date for October 2nd. Now, in that arraignment hearing, defense attorney Ann Taylor told the judge she expects the trial will last between 4 to 6 weeks. Reporting in Moscow, Amanda Rowley.
4 to 6 weeks. All right, so prosecution has 60 days to decide on BK death penalty. I think they would, they would have to, right?
Dozens of victims' family members filled the courtroom in Idaho. Today to see an alleged killer, Brian Kohberger.
What the hell?
Dozens of victims' family members filled a courtroom in Idaho today to see an alleged killer, Brian Kohberger, for themselves. They watched as the judge asked how he pled to the charges against him, the murder of 4 University of Idaho college students. His answer? Silence.
I picked full screen. What the hell's going
Ms.
on?
Taylor.
I picked full screen. What is going on here? YouTube was acting weird today.
Victims.
I was watching other people's streams and stuff. The full chat would get like errors and everything would just disappear.
Family members is an alleged killer, Brian Kohberger, themselves. They watched the judge asked how he pled to the charges against her of 4 University of Idaho college students. His answer? Silence.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty plea.
Prosecutors now have 60 days to determine whether to pursue the death penalty against Kohberger. This was the first time in months the public and the families had to see the man accused of the stabbing deaths that shocked the nation this past November. The trial is set to get underway October 2nd. It is expected to last 6 weeks. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton has been covered from the very beginning. He was in the courtroom today and joins us live from Idaho. Brian Kohberger stayed silent instead of entering a plea of guilty or not guilty. Why?
That's a very good question. I've been talking to attorneys here in Idaho. They all say that it is extremely unusual. Procedurally, it doesn't impact much because if he said not guilty, that's what would have been entered. If he didn't anything, the judge automatically puts a not guilty verdict in for him, which is what happened. But we're trying to figure out why. What was the play here? Is it possible he plans to change his plea at some point and doesn't want to have to say that he is changing it and that he said one thing in the beginning and changed it? That's a possibility. We really don't know, though.
There was some speculation, I heard, that he might be reserving, or his lawyer might be reserving, the ability to plead some sort of mental defect, not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about that?
I have not heard that. That's interesting. I will say this,
Let's go,
though,
Punks.
he was very attentive throughout court and he answered all the judge's other questions. Yes and no answers, many of them. So it's not like he just stayed silent throughout the whole proceeding. He was clearly paying attention and
Mike
very,
Chan
very
is going
engaged with the
crazy.
judge.
How did he seem to you, Brian?
He seemed to me similar to when I saw him the two other times in person, one time in Pennsylvania, one time here in Idaho. Quiet, came in, maybe glanced for a second at the audience, but then just looked at the judge and his attorney. What you don't see in that video, Elizabeth, is just how small this courtroom is. It's very small, maybe holds 50 people tops. You had 25 family members in there on one side and then the media on the other side where I was sitting right behind Kohberger. So there was just sort of this tense, emotional feeling inside the courtroom because
Yeah, that had to be who he looked at then when he walked around and looked straight ahead. Then his eyes changed, blinked, looked down. That had to be who he saw then.
everyone was so close together. And you have to imagine what these families were thinking, really seated just feet away from the man accused of killing their loved one.
I cannot imagine. Was there any reaction from the families? I know they were directed by the judge to be quiet and not do anything like that, but what was the feeling in the room from them?
They were emotional. You could hear some crying even before he came in. It was interesting. Kaylee Gonzalez, one of the victims, her sister Olivia, who last time I interviewed her was pregnant. Well, she's now had the baby, and she brought her baby to court, her newborn, which was just very emotional in its own way because you could sort of hear the baby cooing throughout the entire hearing. And at one point, Kaylee's mom went over to be with the baby, and you just really thought about all the different emotions and everything that this family has been through.
What's up? Thanks for hopping in the show. I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, is it because to me it looked like, you know, when he was sitting there and he said yes to the murder, you know, I understand. And then he kept, you know, he wasn't chewing gum. None of this was moving. So it was like, okay, is he on medication? Is that why he could not be competent right now? That's another thing I brought up too. Are they trying to make a deal? But I said that and everybody's like, no. But who knows? I don't know. But then Ava brings up a really good point, and SRB as well, about the Alford plea. So, and I think that's what, here, I'll bring it back up and I'll put the link in chat there. Just give this a read through real quick. If not, we just went over it a few minutes ago. Here, let me get it up there. I'll put the link in chat. Very interesting. So basically, a defendant is claims they are not guilty, but can't dispute the evidence against them. Am I getting that right, Ava? I'm pretty sure. So that could be interesting too. Definitely click on that and save that in your links there.
Brian, thanks so much for that.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation now. News Nation.
I like News Nation. They always give me a heads up. All right, so this next video we're going to check out is from Court TV. This talks about the blood spatter and the DNA. Listen, you're taking the sheath out of it. We're going to be going over the frickin' the Google and the locations after this. And that shit don't make no damn sense. I made a frickin' highlight video last night about it. It don't make no sense. Now, what's up with the DNA? They're not using it? There's not enough? SRB said there's only 20 skin cells on it. And you get 100 by doing this. Alright, so we're going to check out this Court TV video real quick about DNA and blood splatter. I don't know. I never heard blood splatter. Where's that came up?
We're starting off this hour in the state of Idaho, where a very big case is happening. Accused killer Brian Kohberger is due in court today. Last week, Kohberger was indicted by a secret grand jury. He was indicted for 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Today, he'll be appearing for his formal arraignment on these charges. So his case is now up in district court. Previously, it was in the magistrate court. And each of these charges, of course, from that night last November, were the lives of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were tragically taken. And as the ball gets rolling toward justice for these young people.
I don't know. It made sense to me, though. It made sense to me. So if you think you're that innocent, right? Where you're going to come out and say that stuff from the beginning. You think you're that innocent. You can't dispute evidence. You know, where were you that night? I was sleeping. I mean, you can't dispute it. And you want to save your ass from the future in civil law because, I mean, you saw what happened to OJ. You saw what happened to OJ. He got off there, but he got slammed in the civil lawsuit. I just assumed maybe that's what he was trying to do. Yeah, maybe. But Ava does. Thank you so much for your information, Ava.
We want to take a moment to look back at who these victims were and the promising futures that they had ahead. On November 13th, 2022, at around 4 a.m., 4 college students were brutally murdered. Each would soon become household names, known for their deaths, but remembered for their lives. Kaylee Gonsalves, she was 21 and born in Concord, California. Her family describes her as sociable, strong, and a hard worker.
Kaylee was our middle child out of 5. She was always competitive. She was smack dab middle, so Steven and Olivia were a little bit older. And Aubrey were a little bit younger, so she kind of had to figure out where to fit in, and she definitely did.
Maddie Mogen, also 21, was best friends with Kaylee since childhood. Maddie's family says she was known for her offbeat humor and her ability to make others laugh and smile.
She was so great. She lit up every room she'd come in, and she was just so positive and fun, and we love her and miss her so much.
20-year-old Xana Kernodle grew up in Idaho and was a talented gymnast as a child. In high school, she played volleyball, track, and soccer. Xana was going to school for marketing.
Xana was such a light in my life and so many others. and she knew and understood me more than anyone. Losing her is the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, and it has left me heartbroken.
20-year-old Ethan Chapin loved sports and country music. He was Xana's boyfriend, a triplet who was incredibly close to his family.
We are eternally grateful that we spent so much time with him. And I want to remind you that that's the most important message that we have for you and your families, is to make sure that you spend as much time as possible with those people, because time is precious and it's something you can't get back.
Those poor victims, those beautiful people with their whole lives ahead of them. Let's not forget, as this case continues proceeding through the criminal court system, that those four people are what this case is really all about. We have a very special guest joining us this morning on the program. Forensic pathologist Dr. Michelle Dupree is with us. Good morning, Dr. Dupree. Thank you so much for your time on this Monday.
Whoa, this is the lady from Stephen Smith. This is the lady from the Stephen Smith case. Whoa, she's talking about Kohberger?
Hey. Thanks for having me. Of course, love to have you. We love to pick your brain. And on this one, this is a tricky one because we recognize that we haven't seen all the evidence, right? I want to just start, please, Doctor, with what questions do you have? You know, because talking to a lot of our wonderful courties and true crime aficionados, we all have many, many questions. I'm curious, though, what questions does Dr. Dupree have about this one, please?
Well, I'm sure it's like everyone else. I mean, I really want to know why.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a horrific crime, and it was done in such a horrific way. I want to know what caused it. As far as the rest of the questions I have, there are so many. You know, did he single them out? I think we know the answer to that. But again, if so, why? Did he feel rejected?
What is that audio
Perhaps
trouble?
Did he do this because he simply thought he could get away with it? Is he that narcissistic? There's so many questions.
Somebody making ice cream? What
Certainly. Tell us, please, what questions do you think could be answered at autopsy?
I think that we can answer, obviously, the cause of death, which we know. I also think that we can answer, were there any defensive? Did they actually fight back? Was anything done to maybe?
And Doctor, I believe your audio just cut out. While we try to repair it, I have a clip I want to play. This goes to exactly what you're talking about. This is from Captain Roger Lanier. He's with the Moscow Police Department, and he's talking about how all four of these victims were asleep during the attack. Let's watch.
Yeah, see, they said that in the beginning.
We know that the autopsies confirmed the identity of the four victims, determined the cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing, and determined that it was likely all four victims who were asleep during the attack. Some of the victims had defensive wounds, and each victim was stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of sexual assault.
Okay, so then that may rule out sex as a motivating factor. No sexual assault took place. Defensive wounds. Some of them had defensive wounds, as Dr. Dupree was just talking about. So some of them.
She's part of the new. She's part of the team that was doing the. She was in charge of the autopsy of the new autopsy of Stephen Smith. She was in charge of that. With her and Kenny Kinsey were working together. Yeah, they're doing a lot of work together for Stephen Smith and the autopsy and stuff.
Did fight back, which says a lot about the brutality of these crimes and just how violent these deaths were. The location of the four bodies is something that has been questioned, talked about, and again, because we haven't seen all the evidence, it's tricky. We sent our Court TV crew to the scene to do as much investigative work as possible. I want to play a clip where Chanley Painter is talking about the location of the victims' bodies as we believe them to be found.
Authorities say the murders happened on the second and third floors of the home. The second floor holds the common areas, which include the living room and the kitchen, where those glass sliding doors are located, where it seems investigators believe the suspect could have entered that morning. There are 2 more bedrooms located on this floor as well. The investigation likely points to Xana and Ethan being in that second bedroom the morning of the murders. Towards the back of the home near the kitchen is another.
Well, yeah, because he was found on the bed and she was found on the floor. So, yeah, they were in the bedroom.
Another set of stairs that leads up to the third floor. Once on the third floor, the stairs seem to lead into a loft area with a bedroom on each side and a shared bathroom. There is a letter M located in the left side room's window, which would seem to indicate this room was occupied by victim Maddie Mogan when she was murdered. And according to a TikTok video posted by...
I thought that window was wide open. Wasn't that window wide open? They must have shut the curtains or something. I thought that window was... The blinds were up. I thought you could see through it.
M located in the left side room's window, which would seem to indicate this room was occupied by victim Maddie Mogan when she was murdered. And according to a TikTok video posted by victim Kaylee Gonsalves, it seems the room on the opposite side of this third floor would have been her room.
Okay, so we know they're on different levels. 2 of the victims, Ethan and Xana, on that second level. The third level, Kaylee and Maddie, the 2 best friends in the same bedroom. Let me bring back in Dr. Michelle Dupree. We were trying to repair that audio. I don't know if it's much better, but I want to give it a shot, Doctor, while we have you. You were saying you'd find out if they fought back, and it appears that they did, in fact, fight for their lives. Tell us what else you would be looking for. No signs of sex assault apparent, according to the police captain. But what do the defensive wounds indicate to you as a forensic pathologist?
Well, they indicate that they were at least awake during part of the attack because they did try to defend themselves.
Right, which is incredibly sickening to think that they might have been awoken by being stabbed with that enormous knife, that K-bar knife. It's sickening. They're heavy.
Well, this is coming from the coroner. Look up the coroner. Look at all the conflicts of interest that coroner's been involved in. Trust me. Trust me. And that's the one that changed her story so many times. They were all sleeping. They were all found in bed. Oh, no, now it's this. Oh, no, now it's that. Look at all the conflict of interest she's been involved in. You'd be amazed.
Hard to hold. And then what's really puzzling is that knife sheath left behind. Was that an accident, or was that left as a message, as a trademark or something by the killer? I want to bring in one of your incredible colleagues, Dr. Dupree, forensic expert, the owner of Kenny Kinsey and Associates. Dr. Kenny Kinsey is joining us now.
There you go.
Well. Doctor, good morning to you. Thanks for making time for us. Would you talk a little bit about things that could be clues at that crime scene? Perhaps the K-bar knife sheath. Is that a clue left behind, or is that sloppiness by a criminal?
Sloppy.
Good morning, Miss Julie, and thank you for having me. I believe it was sloppiness. I believe it's mistakes on the part of the perpetrator. Surely with the advent of touch DNA, or I guess the way it's evolved over the years, that a PhD student would consider that a major mess up. So I believe it was accident. It was in haste.
Wired.
And he was quite busy. trying to cover his tracks. And I believe the knife sheath is going to be pivotal in this case.
Dr. Kinsey, would you walk us through, please, if you were in charge of investigating these deaths and how it happened, the way in which it happened, and going in there and reconstructing things?
10 hours.
Give us an idea, if you would.
Yeah, 10 hours ago.
Well, the first thing would, the documentation of the architecture itself. You got to decide which way you're going to go in and out. You're going to have your workers go in and out because you don't want to destroy that blood spatter. And I would imagine there will be a lot of blood spatter in this case that will give a lot of information, yield a lot of clues to these investigators. So you've got to determine a sequence as best you can, and you've got to work it as several small crime scenes. Go in, document that spatter, and just as important as documenting sequencing and movement of the victims, movement of the perpetrator, you've also got to work on the presentation, because there are many levels of, just like many levels of journalists, there are many levels of crime scene presentation. So you're going to have all levels involved in this agency or agencies. So you got to start working on that presentation now, because you don't want to turn the jury off. It's long, boring testimony with lots of numbers and lots of ratios. So I would go ahead now, once they've got that documentation, and I'm sure they're there at this point in time, I would start working on my team. And if they have a National Advocacy Center or some type of where they train new attorneys, I believe I would have these men and women in there now starting to work on their presentation. Even if the results are generic results at this point in time, it's going to be a lot of pressure on these men and women in front of this jury. And I believe DNA is going to help tell a lot of this story. So I would work on it now. It's not the most interesting testimony, but it's going to be very pivotal in this case.
Most certainly. That's an excellent point, Dr. Kinsey. Dr. to you, something that Dr. Kinsey touched on, with the blood spatter. And one might think that if it was one individual who carried out these 4 violent homicides with that huge knife, that he would have some blood on him. And something I want you to, if you would please, Dr. Dupree, surviving witness Dylan Mortensen, who apparently was never threatened, but did see whomever carried out these homicides.
Somebody made a good one of the shows. I think it was Crime Lines and Lies today, when they were talking about it. And they said, you know what, if it was 2 40-year-old dudes that didn't call the fucking LE, they'd be fucking getting trash thrown all over the place, name called left and right, POS, da. So to all the people that get mad and say you're freaking victim shaming just because you're trying to question why a friend doesn't call fucking 911, because you never know, you might have been able to save one instead of letting them bleed out for 8 fucking hours. I swear. They better call fucking 911 for my ass. You know what I mean? Shit, just crazy.
Homicides exiting the home. Nowhere in the description of this person is blood. And that astounds me. I would just think
if it was 2 dudes, they'd be getting trashed.
Please tell me, am I wrong here? Would you speak to this? Because I think a lot of our courties would want to know. Please, Doctor.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's a violent crime. It is very bloody, a very bloody crime scene. And I would expect that the perpetrator would have a lot of blood on him. Perhaps he wore like a tie-back suit or changed clothes or whatever the case may be. But I would expect this would be a very, very...
Yeah, but where's that? You know what? I'm going to tell you, if they don't listen, the only thing that I can think of, because now the ID cards aren't anybody that lived at the property. So the ID cards are, the sheath is, the cell phone pings. There better be something in the car. What if there's nothing in the car? The cell phone pings, we know. The sheath is gone. The ID cards aren't any of the victims. So that leaves it up to the car, right? And if you can't find nothing in the car, because if he was in that car and he had red stuff on him, and you ain't getting it all out. I don't care how much you clean it with bleach. It don't matter. It will show up. If they don't have nothing on their car, then what do they have? Thanks for subscribing, Susie Miss. Appreciate it. What do they have? If they don't have anything in the frickin' car, tell me. I'm curious. No sheath. Cell phone ping. You can be 30 blocks from where it says you're pinging at. And the ID cards aren't any of the victims. Oh, I feel that too. But I'm trying. What else is there if there's nothing in the car? You can create doubt with the sheath. You can, because it's, I mean, hell, it's not even being used anymore. You can create doubt with the cell phone ping locations. What do the ID cards mean now? You know what I'm saying? If they're not connected to any of the victims, or they're not connected to the house, what does it matter? So there's doubt all over that. If there's something in the car, oh yeah. Ching, ching, gone. Life. But if there's nothing in the car, ooh. I'm serious. What do you have? What do you have? Let me know. I don't. I can't think of anything. I don't know. All right, this is Nancy Grace. I've been debating on whether to play this or not. I think we're going to move Enon to tomorrow night. I do want to map out these Google locations tonight, if that's cool. And I got so much, Pam. Thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody else that sent me links, thank you. I have a lot of shit on Enon. So keep sending it to me. We'll go through that tomorrow night. I don't think I'm going to have time to go through it tonight. We'll go through that tomorrow night. And then we're going to live stream, if it's available, we're going to live stream that Fox 59 Doug Carter press conference about the Florida fire. So we will stream that tomorrow night. It's on 5:51, so I'm sure it'll be live. We'll see what happens though. Nancy Grace, we haven't checked her out for a while. I do love some Nancy Grace. Half the time I'm laughing my ass. Let's see. Yeah, we need to get this map out. We need to get this mapping done. I got that video and I got the PCA. So if anybody wants to pull it up before we get into the Google mapping, here's a link for that. If you guys would like to, if you're on a PC or something, go ahead and have that up on another tab. Check it out while we're watching this episode, and then we're gonna get into these locations because this shit don't make sense. Yeah, thank you so much, Pam. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's so much to go into. I'm like, holy crap. And then all the stuff that was about the arraignment. I mean, hell, we spent 2 hours on it. You know, all the stuff that's in with the arraignment and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but that's normal shit. There's plans, and we get to get 2/3 of them because other shit's crazy. But yeah, we'll do that tomorrow night. Enon Harsh. And I do have some Emma Bailey stuff too, so we'll get into some Enon, some Emma, and then we'll see that Doug Carter interview. I can't imagine that thing being more than 10 or 15 minutes. That dude's tricky with his words, and he don't really say shit, so it's probably just a conference just to get everybody to, simmer down. But that case is so fucked up. There'll never be simmered down on Florida fire. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to my episode that we did a replay on. I sat back with everybody in chat on Sunday late morning. I put all the tremendous creators links that cover this case. Amazing content. I put all of those creators links in the description of that video. So definitely Jinx 13 hopped up with me. It was back on episode 139. She hopped up with me and explained the case to me. And Sunday morning I did a replay of it where I played it and I hung out with everybody in chat. It was pretty neat. So it was kind of nice being able to hang out with everybody and kind of refresh. And then also it was nice because with all the noob subs, some of them might not know about the Florida case. So it'd be a good introduction as well. So yeah, definitely go. I did it on Sunday, yesterday. So definitely go check it out. All the creators links in the description. Definitely go sub and check out their stuff too. It's good stuff. They do a tremendous job on covering that case. So this is Nancy Grace. Yeah, definitely check out the PCA about the car stuff if you want to. We're gonna see. We haven't watched a Nancy Grace either for a while. We got some Scott Reich and some Nancy Grace tonight. This just came out a little bit ago too.
With a court reporter taking it all down, so there's no confusion that with what you were charged, and this comes from rights under our Constitution. In olden days, thousands of years ago, let's just take, we get our jurisprudence, our common law from Great Britain. And there were times, and in other countries to this day, you can be thrown in jail on an arrest and languish there for years, literally. You don't know exactly what you're charged with. You don't know when or if you're ever going to go to trial. Not so here. Under our Constitution and case law that interprets the Constitution, you have a right to be arraigned, formally read the charges lodged against you. And That's with either plead guilty. It's not going to happen because he's looking at potential death penalty. Why sign up for that? He's going to put the state to the test and try to beat the charge. He can plead guilty, not guilty, the likely scenario. He may have his lawyer enter the plea for him if he doesn't want to speak in court, which could be wise because some people may recognize his voice, although there's plenty on social media of him talking and him speaking. Or if neither of them, Kohberger or his lawyer, will enter a plea formally, the law, of course, that's happened before, so there's been case law on it. So there's precedent. In other words, preceding law of this issue. The precedent is that if the lawyer or the defendant will not plea on the record, the court, the judge, enter the plea for them, and the law presumes they intend to enter a not guilty plea. Those are the three choices with the technical letter of the law. However, a lot more is going to happen in this courtroom. Victims' families are going to be there. We don't know if Kohberger will have an outburst, if he'll say something. I'll never forget O.J. Simpson, may he rot in hell, saying 100% not guilty.
She said, may he rot in hell.
Did he say 100% or did he say 110%? What did he say? What were the choices? Was he 80% not guilty? 10% not guilty? Anyway, everybody remembers that. This is following a grand jury indictment. And when you hear the words secret grand jury, like, ooh, that's scary. It's not. All grand juries are secret. In other words, it's just the grand jurors. Usually there's between 20 and 40 of them, depending on the size of the jurisdiction. They're typically taken from the voter pool or the driver's license pool. And in inner city Atlanta, we would have 2 grand jury days a week. I think it was Tuesday and Thursday. It would be all day long. And you can present a case to the grand jury in about 2 minutes. One witness saying, oh, I was standing on the corner. I saw this dope transaction. I got the dope. This is the guy that did it. And then the grand jury would vote. It's not a finding of guilt or innocence. It's very simply, is there enough evidence for this to go to a jury, for a jury to decide guilt or innocence, or if a crime was committed? That's all it is. Prior to the grand jury indictment on Kohberger for 4 counts of murder and burglary, it was believed that a preliminary hearing would be held, which was a horrible idea, which I said on day one, because that subjects the state's witnesses to cross-examination long before trial. Why subject examination twice and give the defense your entire playbook? Why give them your witnesses on the stand under oath? It's crazy talk. Anyway, they came to their senses and had a grand jury. But that's not even what I want to talk about right now, because something very significant has occurred. It's as if a monster has reared its ugly head. With me, Chris McDonough, director of the Cold Case Foundation, which in itself is impressive. But what I find most impressive is the fact that McDonough is a former homicide detective with about 400 homicides investigated to his credit. He's the host of YouTube channel, The Interview Room, and you can find him at coldcasefoundation.org. Chris McDonough. In the last days, it has emerged that in the months leading up to the murders of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students, this perv, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying that, manipulated a female colleague into asking him, Brian Kohberger, of all people, to install video surveillance in her apartment. And he did. The big hero.
What? Okay, hold on a minute. What? Hold on a minute. Okay. Okay, so I remember News Nation was reporting that too, and we thought News Nation was the one that started saying it. But when we rewatched that News Nation video, News Nation said that Dateline's the one that stated that. But let me oh my gosh, why are these people? Okay, look, I'm going to show you something. Look. Source. May have been interviewed. That was real because we knew that. Thanks. Friend. Thanks. May have. That's about his phone pinging. We know about that. They mention an incident. This is what she's referring to from March 2022, where Ellie was called to a sorority house. There's absolutely no proof of significance to BK, but they say that because in March, BK had already decided to move out to Washington and was doing schooling online, that they can't rule it out that he could have. I mean, why is and I don't mean everybody as creators, I'm saying these frickin' news sources. That just talks about him getting pulled over. Found two IDs inside the parents' house. ID cards in a glove in a box that belonged to two women, but not to the victims. Where do you see anything that he frickin' came up with this master frickin' plan to break in, rearrange shit, and then he knew that that person was gonna contact him to set up surveillance? Come on, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Listen to this.
100 homicides investigated to his credit. He's a host of YouTube channel, The Interview Room. Kind of a cold case, and then the grand jury would vote. It's not a finding of guilt or innocence. It's very simply, is there enough evidence for this to go to a jury, for a jury to decide guilt or innocence, or if a crime was committed? That's all it is. Prior to the grand jury indictment on Kohberger for 4 counts of murder and burglary,
listen to this.
it was believed that a preliminary hearing would be held, which was a horrible idea, which I said on day one, because that subjects the state's witnesses to cross-examination long before trial. Why subject them to cross-examination twice? And why give the defense your entire playbook? Why give them your witnesses on the stand under oath? It's crazy talk. Anyway, they came to their senses and had a grand jury. But that's not even what I want to talk about right now, because something very significant has occurred. It's as if a monster has reared its ugly head. With me, Chris McDonough,
Oh, I must
director of the
have
Cold
missed
Case
it.
Foundation,
Sorry.
which in itself is impressive. But what I find most impressive is the fact that McDonough is a former homicide detective with about 300 homicides investigated to his credit. He's the host of YouTube channel The Interview Room, and you can find him at coldcasefoundation.org. Chris McDonough. In the last days, it has emerged that in the months leading up to the murders of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students, this perv, and I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying that, manipulated
Come on.
a female colleague
Come on.
into asking him, Brian Kohberger,
Come
of all
on.
people, to install video surveillance in her apartment.
Come on, Nancy.
And he did. The big hero. And Chris McDonough, we believe, according to these allegations,
Come on, Nancy.
that he broke into the woman's apartment, her home,
Come on.
moved things around, and scared her. And she goes to work the next day, where he was at WSU, Washington State University, getting his PhD and a teaching assistant. She tells him, oh my stars, somebody has been in my apartment. There's no doubt in my mind. This was moved. That was moved. That was in the wrong place. Blah, blah, blah. We don't know exactly what was moved. It could have been a chair. It could have been a sofa. It could have been an ashtray. It could have been a trophy or a picture. I mean, I have this particular picture right beside my bed. 2 pictures. One is of the twins in their strollers. In their stroller. Their double stroller. Taken when they were babies on a street in New York. The other one is down at my church, my Methodist church in Macon, where I grew up, with my mother, my father, my husband, and the twins. That's beside my bed. Now, if I suddenly saw one of those in the kitchen, I would know something was amiss.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And then you know to instantly call Kohberger. Give me a fucking break. This shit. Never mind.
from what the allegations are, Chris McDonough, the woman comes home and she goes, what? As he predicted, she came to work and told him about it, where he, the hero, the savior, offers to install security cams. You take it from there, McDonough. I can't wait to hear this.
No.
You know, Nancy, what a fascinating.
Good night, Kib Kitty.
You know, delve into the potentially criminal mind here.
No.
And the individuals, obviously, that, you know, we have all associated with in your career, my career.
How can you be so calm? What is wrong with you, man? This woman
I'll tell you,
has a killer
I'm going there.
stalking her
I'm going
and
there.
getting in her apartment and installing her security camera. This is right.
Yeah.
He's obviously progressing. It's a step in the progression up to murders. She's lucky to be alive, man.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking you 1,000%. And where I'm going here is this is really the pace that he was going at, the way I'm projecting him here.
Huh?
He is, to your point, he's the savior. He comes into this situation with this, you know, technical background, and he moves things around. If this is him that broke into the apartment, the first part, okay, which it sounds like it is. And he is playing this mind game with her, but more this fear game. This guy is projecting this fear, i.e. control.
Seriously, when you watch the Dateline episode, if you're bored or if you want to watch it again and you're just really just pay attention to all the thinks, may have, could have, thought. This is not fact. That's why I'm not even talking about a lot of that shit. I saw that shit, think, may have, this, and I'm like, I could say the shit. The ID cards not being connected to the victims, that's huge. The other interviews and stuff, definitely creepy. Now, the interview with his classmate where they were working on projects together, very interesting. You know, he even talked about how Kohberger like shut off at a split second, went from laughing and giggling, and his friend was like, come on, or your classmate, come on, quit laughing, I gotta be able to take a photo for this. And then he's like, yeah, in a split instant he just went serious. I mean, and we saw that at the beginning of the show when he was sitting down there saying that he understood. You know, he looked at his attorney for a second, grinned, and then as soon as, I mean, hell, the grin went away before he even looked back down in front of him. It was gone. Split second. I hope, oh my gosh. I get it, ratings, but come on. The judge even said it today. You know, shit like this, it's speculation. You can't be talking about it like it's fact.
By moving these items around. And who does she come to? She comes right to him and says, hey, you know, I've gotten blah, blah, blah. These things are moving, blah, you know, I need help. And he steps in and says, hey, I've got the solution for you. You need to have a surveillance system. Now, let's take that also back to the incident in March for a second.
Like, how did he know that she was going to come to him if he broke into the apartment? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't he just go up to her and say, hey, let me know if you need help installing the camera? I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry y'all ain't feeling good. We'll get into the Enon stuff tomorrow night. We have a lot of stuff to go into with that. We'll be finishing up this episode, and then I'll be doing some Google mapping and stuff. So totally understand if you guys, I know there's a lot of people that have bugs and stuff. Definitely get your rest, drink plenty of water. And definitely, yeah, worry about you. Take care of you. And then you can take care of everything else. Totally understand.
Where the neighbor of the victims at 1122 King, who all of a sudden goes out to her car, and there's this big question of where was Brian Kohberger? Well, nobody knows, but we do know, and I understand from January through June, he was kind of MIA because everything was online. So that piece of this puzzle in March, we have to think about this car incident where she goes to her suitcases and discovers those have been rearranged.
Oh, don't be sorry. Seriously.
And now we have this other incident of items being...
Okay, so now he's referring to the girl that got her car broken into, and the shit in her suitcase was like, her suitcase was laying out in the road, and shit that was in her car was in the suitcase, and then her underwear was in her door cup holder. No, I totally feel you guys, because I might even, because I'm still feeling tired after yesterday. I totally understand. Yeah, no apologies necessary. Damn straight, Pam. Nah, for real. We'll be getting into the Enon stuff tomorrow night. Nah, get your rest.
Rearranged. Is there a correlation there? From an investigative aspect, those are the exact types of things we start looking at. And then we discover in that car incident, if it's connected, there's her underwear is in the door frame.
He's breathing heavy, Nancy.
And when this thing is first going down, the cops are going, well, you know, we got a lot of Kohbergers going on around in this area, et cetera, et cetera. There's no real correlation. Now this information comes out, and guess what? It's almost the be.
Okay. In events, you would connect.
I would connect at this point. There's a high probability the car incident is connected.
Okay, when you're saying the car incident, I'm going to make a flow chart.
Whoa, come on.
Which car incident are you to which car incident are you referring?
What?
The neighbors who came out to her car in March and discovered her suitcase and removed out.
Okay, and I want to show you the neighbor that they're talking about. What the heck, man? I don't know, maybe because I'm not a prior investigator or something. I'm just having a hard time with this. I don't know. Okay. They lived right here. So, wait. 1122. No, they lived right here. So, 1126. So when you're right here, why did it put me here? This is not where I wanted to go. Hold on. I don't know why it put me there. I'll just give you the bird's eye because I think it's because there's not much Google guy over in that area. All right. So it was this house right here. While you're standing there, you can see this in the background. But I don't know why it you could see it. I don't know. If you're watching the special, you'll see what I mean. You could see it in the background. It was right here. Her car was parked here. They were talking to her. As they're looking at her, you can see this part of the house in the background. So, yeah, I don't know. Just because they live next to the crime scene. Just because they live next to the crime scene doesn't mean it's connected. Play?
Issue. The precedent
Whoa.
is that.
Why did it skip all the way back there? Are you kidding me?
To the exact types of things we start looking at. And then we discover in that car incident, if it's connected. There's her underwear is in the door frame of the cup holder. And when this thing is first going down, the cops are going, et cetera, but there's no real correlation. Now this information comes out, and guess what? It's almost the same type of
Good night,
behavior.
SRB.
Okay, let's
go ahead.
in a nutshell, tell me what events you would connect.
I would connect at this point. There's a high probability the car incident is connected.
Okay, when you're saying the car incident, I'm going to make a flow chart.
Yeah.
Which car incident are you to which car incident are you referring?
The neighbors who came out to her car in March and discovered her suitcase had been removed out of her car and her underwear had been taken out of her suitcase and put into the door frame.
Well, plus, and then when you're watching the episode and the body cam and you hear the other LE talk, and they had recent car break-ins They stolen cars. I mean, I don't know where they get this fucking connection that BK is the one that, supposedly did this. It's almost like the same connection as BK skinning these fucking dogs. Like, come on. Have some freaking facts before you start spewing shit,
Into a cup holder in her passenger door. Okay?
And you're connecting this to Kohberger because
because you did, Nancy.
Consistent with this fantasy.
What about location?
Because Dateline did.
Right next door to where the victims live. You can see. You go from her house right to the victim's house in her backyard.
Exactly.
So that means that BK did it? Come on up.
It's just too close for comfort.
So you would conceively connect that plus.
Oh my gosh, because you can see the frickin'.
Well, and now we've got the voyeurism situation, and now we take that
the colleague
into the the colleague.
Or maybe it was Enon's creepy fucking ass peeping through the fucking blinds, coming up with an excuse to go meet somebody with a half-open bottle of fucking cooking oil that somebody said, fuck yeah, I want it. Give me a break.
Now we take this 12 pings in the neighborhood, and we think to ourselves, okay, and Greg Cooper and I talked about this, by the way. As you know, Greg ran the behavior science unit. We've been colleagues since 1998. And behind the scenes, we've been just talking about, okay, Greg, what's your thought process on this? And he's point blank comes right out and says, it wouldn't surprise me that he did a recon into this residence. And I agree with him that there's a high probability he was poking around that house. Now, is that a physical recon or is it a surveillance recon? Well, we know that there's indications that he definitely was on the surveillance side, based on the fact that his phone is going to ping. But we don't know if he had access into their Wi-Fi into that house. And if he did,
I want to put an image for you. So, and they should be able to figure this out from
oh my gosh,
movements with his cell phone.
Yes.
But we know that he set up the colleague's Wi-Fi.
It makes me wonder how many others people's Wi-Fi my phone's trying to connect to when I'm sitting at a fucking stoplight, I mean, come on.
For her, including the surveillance system in the home.
Oh, come on.
So he had her passwords. He knew how to look, break into her Wi-Fi. Like when I'm on the road, even from a plane, I can log into the Wi-Fi at the house.
You don't think she was smart enough to change the passwords after he left? My Lord.
And if I want to look at Anticam, I can. Usually I see the dog walking around, so it's not as helpful as you might think. But that said, I wonder how many times he would drive by her home to just get straight into her Wi-Fi. I wonder if he could log into it remote. Can you just see him hunched over his computer watching this woman? Probably just laying on her sofa reading or watching TV or something.
What the fuck? Man, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about this episode. Nancy, what are you doing?
And totally, I don't know how to put this delicately, but let's just say watching her normal behavior, like in the kitchen, maybe walking around in her underwear or PJs for sexual purposes.
Yep. That's all part of the buildup.
Oh my gosh.
And there are devices out there, Nancy, that are available on the marketplace. They're called sniffers. Okay? And what that device does is it captures all of the open networks within a geographic region. Okay?
What's up, PK?
And
This one's
so as a result of that,
this one's talking about like crazy speculation from Dateline episode and just talking like it's fucking true, and it's crazy.
Technology background,
like,
you know, for him to go and set up a camera system and get into it, that is a behavior that is somewhat, you know, very diabolical and planning.
What's up, Tracy?
You know, ahead.
Hey, there's
right?
another aspect to this, but you know, I'm just a trial lawyer. I think we need to shrink on this. But the planning. I mean, who has time? Like, if somebody said, listen, I want you to break into your neighbor's place and move their stuff around just enough to make them realize somebody's been in there, then sneak out undetected, and then somehow manipulate them into asking you to set up their security camera, and then setting it up. So all of this so you can watch them, change clothes, go to the bathroom? Really?
That sounds like one of those episodes where, you know, where you're watching those episodes about plane accidents and shit. This took place, and then this took place, and then this took place, and then this took place, and this took place, and if they all didn't take place, then this catastrophe wouldn't have happened. You're telling me that dude is gonna break into a fucking woman's house, move shit around, know that she's gonna come to him, know that she's gonna, you know, take his suggestions on, you know, a camera, know that she's gonna ask him to come over and set it up and hook it up, know that she needs help with the password, and know that she's not going to change that password after your ass walks out of the door? That takes a lot of fucking planning. That's crazy. I'm surprised. Nancy Grace and what's his name? The interview room guy? Wow.
Cook dinner? You watch them while they watch TV? What does this guy do all the time?
Nancy.
Well, and then apply for a position at the police department to teach the cops.
People like himself.
Exactly.
I mean, but the time and the machinations required for him to pull this off. And this woman should be thanking her lucky stars. I mean, down on her knees to heaven that she's not his murder victim. How many times do you think he logged in to watch her, I don't know, vacuuming, doing whatever she normally does, studying? She was his colleague at school.
Yes, and this is why, you know, we need to tell your audience and others, you know, get one of those covers over your laptop camera, over your desktop camera, because the capability of somebody getting into your system and watching you is very real. And not only the fact that, you know, that, and we're just talking about those types of devices, but here he's actually, you know, installing the devices. And so he's just taken this to another level to where, okay, you know, I can see her 24/7. Now remember, all of that is about possession for him. Now, and the docs can talk about that all day long, but from an investigative aspect, it's all about, okay, I'm controlling her and she has no idea I'm controlling her. And that's why,
How do they?
Nancy, remember when you went back to the behind that
How do
house?
they even
What
know
was the
this? Come on.
first you had when layout of how simple it was?
What if he is
Honestly, I
innocent,
felt
right?
almost sick to my stomach because I
Throat
don't know if you
lozenges.
remember, we went behind the house. It was in the evening at night, and there were some lights on inside the house. I think one light was left on. You could
Thank
see
you for the
straight
sub, Susie.
in from the dark on the outside into the home. And I could imagine Kohberger sitting there in the back. There was a perfect place. I mean, there was where you could park your car and sit there and look straight in.
Well, yeah.
I guess it was their top floor rooms. And I could just see him sitting there. And do you see the comparison of sitting outside the murder victim's place looking in to the girls' apartments and him hunched over his computer at home watching this colleague who's secure?
Who he had to come up with a big time master plan, and she had. I mean, come on now. Now I ain't gonna say no about freaking, you know, if he did this right, because they're all innocent until proven guilty. I'm not gonna say that he didn't. You know, we've said from the beginning that this person, a good spot would be to park right here and you walk right down there. You're hidden from trees. You're going down a hill. Ain't nobody gonna see you through that sliding glass door at nighttime because you're in the freaking trees. I mean, come on. Like, just look at the layout of the fucking area. What is the best spot to go to? Right where that blue car is. I mean, you fucking go up there. It's a huge parking lot, so your car being parked there ain't gonna stand out. Not at all. And then you can literally walk down that fucking hill and be right there. See right in the sliding glass door. Look up through the window in the second floor, Maddie's room. Hell, there's a window to Dylan's room. Yeah, I can see doing that, but to sit there creeping over the computer where he's watching her 24/7 because he knew that if he broke in there and moved stuff around, she was going to have him help her. And then he was going to have to help her with the passwords. And then he knew that she wasn't going to change them either. Ooh, come on, Nancy. I love you, but damn.
Cams, who's wireless he had installed. It's the same MO, the same modus operandi method of operation. And you brought up
Oh, wow.
Also probative, the incident where the neighbor had her suitcase removed from her car, her underwear taken out and stuffed in the door of the car.
Regurgitate. Just keep
I think it would be well
regurgitating.
worth the investigators' time
Oh,
to
man.
canvass the area. I know they've already canvassed the area in regards to what did you see the night of the murders, but
How much time is left on this?
have any of them had any other unusual activity happening to them around the time of the murders, like this neighbor, where your car's broken into, where your home's broken into? Just anything.
All speculation. This is just crazy ass shit. We went through the dateline. You know what the statements were. It's a lot of think, may have, might have, could have. And this is being repeated as facts. So if you happen to join this episode and it happens to hop on this part and not what was before it, definitely I'm gonna share it again real quick after this is over. Shit.
that could lead us to the progression of his behavior, going from 0 to 100 mph in a matter of months.
Yeah, that progression that you're talking about, right, is he is living this fantasy, because remember, everything that happens potentially with these guys is fantasy based if it's, has an undertone of, a sexual assault type of challenge. And so everything, the buildup to get to this point, and then ultimately the rage, okay, is what we're seeing. We call that pre-incident behavior.
Right.
Right, from a criminal behavior analysis aspect. So he is building, and he's looking for his victimology in relationship to, okay, what's my type? Okay, well,
All right, you know what? I've never done this before on a Nancy Grace episode, but you know what? Here's the link if you want to watch the rest of this episode. This is nothing but total fucking, right, Tracy? We were going to go into some, Enon tonight a little bit, but a lot of stuff with the arraignment in this episode, so we're going to be having Enon topic tomorrow night. We got a lot of stuff. Thank you, Pam, for a lot of that stuff, and you guys can keep whatever Enon stuff you want us to check out. I'm not familiar with him that much. I just checked an interview out last night for the first time. Definitely seems suspicious as fuck. So I want to say thank you to everybody out in chat that's been asking me to check him out. I was actually overwhelmed with all of this stuff. Not to mention with the arraignment, but also with the Enon Harsh shit. But keep them coming. We'll be getting into all that shit tomorrow night. Any Emma Bailey stuff too. Yeah, if you want to watch the rest of this, you can go ahead. I'm done with that one for tonight. All right, so this is basically a rundown. Come on, just go away. It went away a minute ago. All right, there we go. Source says rumor that BK was messaging them on social media is not correct, but he may have been stalking them via geotagging. May have. Spring of 2022, BK interviewed online for internship for Pullman Police Department. After not getting the internship, BK was hired as a TA at WSU. July 2022, BK moved to Pullman. A month prior, he purchased the K-bar and a sheath from Amazon. So that's fact. That is a fact. Experts say he thinks BK casted a part with an individual who fits the fantasy, a prototype. Friend of Kaylee's thinks BK may have come across the victims at Mad Greek. An expert thinks it could be via social media. Thinks. You get where I'm going? Good night, Punksy. You get where I'm going, people? BK got a seatbelt vibe. Yeah, that's fact. I'm not even going to repeat it. It's fact. They mention an incident from March 2022 where Ellie was called to a sorority house in nearby King Road residence because a girl's suitcase was taken from her car and put into the middle of the road, and she found items from her front seat in her suitcase and found her underwear and her cup holder. There is absolutely no proof of significance to BK, but they say that because in March, BK had already decided to move to Washington and was doing schooling online, they can't rule it out that he could have been in the area because they don't know where he was. So because they don't know where he was, he could have been in the area. He could have been taking a shit at fucking Wendy's too. BK had a coworker who had some weird things happen in her apartment, so she told BK, who recommended and installed a video security system, which they say he could pull up the camera to look at because he knew her Wi-Fi password. Knew it when he helped set it up. Did he know it after he left? And experts think BK could have orchestrated the whole thing, and it may have been a stepping stone leading up to the worst crime. Whoa, that's a lot of fucking facts. Multiple experts say and state that they believe either Kaylee or Maddie were the target. We've heard that. We've heard that the state DNA states on the sheath was touch DNA. They said LE believed BK intended to leave after going back downstairs to the second floor, but encountered Zaina, who was still awake after ordering DoorDash. And was still using TikTok. And experts think there's a lot of thinks in here. And that he probably didn't see Dylan as he was focused on leaving because his plan had been botched. Check out my highlight video from a week ago or so of my theory of why BK didn't see DM. They said investigators, not LE, are convinced BK could have been PR based. Papa Rogers. We've heard that. So is that really true what everybody's talking about, how BK was Papa Roger? I don't know anymore. Because when it comes to this Dateline shit, I mean, hey, if you want to come out with a program and make a whole bunch of fucking, they could have, they think, they might have. If you want to come out with that shit, that's cool. That's your own program, right? Please be careful with what you talk as fact. A ticket. BK's sister. We heard of that. And then the IDs not connected to the victims. Come on. Yeah, I'm about done with that one. All right, so I'm going to switch to this video here. This had a lot of good information. Exactly, Pam. I mean, we all are speculation, obviously, because we're not LE. We're not an attorney. We're not the inner circle. We're not involved in the freaking preliminary hearings and all that shit. You know, we're not in there. So we're all speculation, but damn. I mean, come on. I'm not even fucking talking about this fucking, he broke into the apartment knowing that she was gonna contact him. I mean, and then he hunched over in his computer, all in the dark, all creepy. Ugh. Out of your fucking mind. What the fuck? All right. I'm just going to look over this real quick. See what's breaking. I'm not really seeing nothing. All right. So let me find this. Let me find this video because it's a court TV video that it was a time stamp of all of the locations. So we're gonna look that up. It's drama. Whoever wrote this illegally, yeah. I think they stood on silence because they haven't even seen all the evidence against him. They've been asking. Yeah, that's true too. The third request. That is true. And they were asking for a lot they were asking for a lot too. It was like, dang, but hey, they should. You know what I'm saying? Like, you sent it to another lab and you didn't even put it down in the paperwork? You sent it to another lab that specializes in cold cases, and this was the first recent update case that they were covering. Thank you so much, Idaho, for letting us have the opportunity. I mean, they even fucking made a statement. Thank you, Idaho, for giving us this opportunity. Because they specialize in enhancing DNA. %? No, not 20%. Sorry. 20 skin cells. Oops, I just dropped 100 on my shoulder. 20 skin cells. And that's what you got. They needed to enhance it too to get those 20. No, they didn't want to say nothing. Yeah, they knew there's a reason why. They were going to use that sheath, and you know damn well they were going to use that sheath, right? Until the defense asked for all that shit, and then they're like, oh, yeah, we're just not going to use it. You know why they're not going to use it? Because they would have been torn to fucking shreds over that. You're going to send it to a lab, like I just told you, not knowing who, the contamination that could have taken place. And then you're only going to get 20 cells off that? There's a reason they got rid of it, because they knew. It's like OJ's glove. You know what I'm saying? It's like OJ's fucking glove. It's that item. But the fucking prosecution's like, nope. Gone. You're asking way too much. We're going to get torn to shreds over it. Never mind, it's not worth it. Because we all thought that was like the damning fucking evidence right there. All right, let me find this episode here. Give me 1 second. I'll be on about another 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for the evening, and then we'll be back on tomorrow night, 6:30 Central. All right, where's that episode? I mean, I'd like to watch BTK stuff sometime, but you get shut down too much. All right, here it is. All right, so let's switch to this. And again, if you want a link to the PCA, here it is right here. If you want this link, There it is again, if you want to save it for yourself. Okay. I gotta turn this down. Court TV is always crazy loud. Damn, I still got Nancy Grace's shit up there. There we go.
The suspect vehicle and coordinating cell phone location data beginning in the early morning hours of November 13th. At 2:42 a.m., it alleges that Brian Kohberger's phone places him likely at his apartment on the WSU campus where he was a PhD student studying and teaching criminology. At 2:44 a.m., Kohberger's vehicle and cell phone are on the move. Police say his white Hyundai Elantra is spotted on WSU surveillance cameras traveling north on Nevada Street.
Okay, and we got that location. Defense seems confident to me. Fuck yeah, Tracy. I mean, shit. I'm just saying when BK was still in PA paperwork, he hadn't even touched Idaho paperwork. That chick shut shit down, set up her whole team, and got the cleaning crew out of there and was walking around the property already. Dude wasn't even in the Idaho court system. So they ain't messing around. I totally agree with you, Tracy. Here's the thing. They used his dad's DNA. But 20 skin cells, PK. Doing this leaves 100. There was only 20 on it. I mean, the speculation is that Idaho sent it to Texas because they couldn't get a freaking hit. Trust me, when you look at this evidence, and I feel like he is guilty, right? But I always have to think like a juror member. Where's the reasonable doubt? So when I'm looking at all this shit, reasonable doubt. You can't, reasonable doubt, 20 skin cells, you got to send it to another lab that specializes in enhancing DNA. But it don't matter. Unless there's DNA in the house, which he could say, yeah, I went over there all the time and partied. You know, how many times did you see the body cams where LE's showing up to the house for noise complaints and you got people fucking walking in and walking out? None of them live there. The LE's trying to ask for who lives here, get them on the phone. They're on the frickin' phone. None of the people that live there are at the damn house. Huge party going on. They're down the frickin' road and they got to call them on the phone to talk to the officer. So he could easily say, I've been at that property. Yeah, I used to go partying all the time. We'd walk up and down the streets. I don't know. Because they were using that to connect the DNA on the knife sheath, remember? And then we heard that it matched. And we're like, oh, shit. There's the nail in the coffin. Just like OJ's glove. Nail in the coffin. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
At Stadium Way. According to the affidavit, it was here in this area of the WSU campus where surveillance video and Kohberger's cell phone placed him here around 2:47 a.m. According to the affidavit, he spent several minutes in this area where he allegedly turned off his cell phone before heading out of town toward Moscow, Idaho. By 2:53 a.m., Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra is observed heading in the direction of Moscow, Idaho. At 3:20 a.m., the affidavit then places Kohberger's vehicle, now in the town of Moscow, in this residential neighborhood on Indian Hills Drive.
Arrow Street. So that's by the PD. What was it? Indian Hills, Arrow Street, Indian Hills Drive. So right there. So there's a location right there. Then on 700 Indian Hills Drive.
Residential neighborhood on Indian Hills Drive. This happens to the road directly overlooking the Moscow Police Department. The Elantra is picked up on surveillance video moving west past the 700 block of Indian Hills.
Whoa. Whoa. What the
Department. The Elantra is picked up on surveillance video moving west past the 700 block.
So they're basically saying here, let me get rid of this. So we're going to go, so we'll leave that. So we'll get rid of that. 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 So you're telling me that this is where he went to get to the home. So you're telling me this is why this don't make sense. Cause look, when I leave his apartment in there, all right? So you're telling me, no, he didn't go that way either. Oh, hold on. He didn't go that way. I gotta leave the Washington building in there. That way it gets his true route. So coffee house, Washington, Steptoe. Okay, there we go. So he went this lower route, right? So they're saying that he left. I would get rid of this. I wish I could get rid of it. He's saying he left from his residence here, went down this road, came down this path, okay, drove down here, came down here. This is where he was caught on surveillance at 240, where they said Nevada Street and Stadium. So he was caught on surveillance right here. So then he came around, got on 270, and then drove 270 when if he could have went nonchalant, not even been caught on all these freaking cameras. Instead, he went the route that takes you through the whole freaking city to go unalive people. Instead of going the roundabout where you're out in rural area. I mean, look at this shit. It's all rural. Rural. Comes here. Does not turn off here and go side streets the quickest way possible. Oh no. He goes over here, down here, speeds down Troy Road, is seen on this surveillance at this gas station. No, that's when he's leaving. So where did he go? He must, oh shoot, whoops. He must have went, so it's saying, see, this is where it doesn't make fucking sense. So why was he caught on the camera there, but not before? What did so you're telling me he's going to commit this and he's going to go all through the city, come around here, drive fucking all the way around here just to do a loop-de-roop, to then come back up here and then take this route? And then go somewhere from over here, come around here, come around here, come around here, go on Steiner, get caught on Steiner, and then head over here. The whole loop-de-loop roundabout, go through the frickin' city instead of the rural. Then when you leave, you're going to head south and come all the way through these towns here. Come all the way, and that's when you just unalive before. I don't know.
Block of Indian Hills. At 3:28
Oh, you can't
a.m.,
see the
video
map?
shows the
Stupid StreamYard. That sucks. This stupid StreamYard, man. I hit switch and it doesn't do it. I'm sorry. That fucking sucks. It just don't. So here's the map. Is it showing the whole thing? I think so. They're saying he went through the city, not through the rural area. Went through the city, got caught on Washington, then came over here, then came back up around, and then came over to the proper. When he could have easily just cut off the Route 8 or whatever, Highway 8, and then came around here. Which is, I thought that's how his phone was pinging, but according to them, he went all the way over here, all the way around here, then down here, got caught on camera here, got caught on camera here, came up around over Steiner, and came over this way. Like this. So he came from up here, came around here somewhere, came back up around, came around, and then went to the crime scene. And that was after going through the fucking city instead of going through the fucking rural area. See? Nonchalant. That would have been an easy drive where you don't have to worry about shit, whether you're leaving or coming back. Look, you got a fucking golf course right there to I mean, you're what, a few blocks of the city and that's it? You're driving by a bunch of apartments, not by a frickin', I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It seems so weird, the route and the timeline. I'm gonna try and figure this stuff out after the show. I don't know. There's more to go into it. You almost have to make your own freaking diagram. I'm gonna have to. Of like an order, you know, and then we can actually like map out the way that the car went, right? So if you have any, we got the PCA. This video right here probably is a good help. If you want to check this out, here's the link to this video. Yeah, we're going to have to go through it. It's so confusing. So send me any videos if you guys know of any links or anything that I can check out when it comes to this. I'm going to try and get it all mapped out and set up outside of the live show. And then, how can there not be any blood? You know what I mean? Like I said, they probably had a backpack sitting in the woods with the change of fucking attire. You know? And then you stuff all the shit from the crime in a book bag and then you go burn that son of a bitch somewhere. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he knew somewhere to toss it off in that country route. I'll get it all mapped out. If you guys know of any other programs besides Google, because all I can do is add destinations, I can't like do much with it. I don't know, or maybe I'm just not that familiar with using Google for that stuff. But yeah, let me know. Hit me up. I'm going to see if there's anything breaking real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and close down the show, and I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll get into that Enon stuff. I'll try and do that map stuff outside of the show. There's a lot to that. And I'd like to be able to like, maybe I'll take some screenshots and then add some stuff to it. Let me see here. So here again, here's the PCA if you'd like it. That's a good question, though, Pam. Not seeing anything. I'm seeing stuff on Epstein. There's more shit coming out about that. Yeah, I think his silent shit was strategic for sure. Whether it was by him or his attorney, somebody. Yeah, I'm not seeing much for the. There's nothing breaking, so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Yeah, let me know. Hope you all have there was yeah, that's what we heard. I will look into, I'm thinking ATS has a map. Ooh, nice. That would be good to use too. Actually, that would be good. I need to come up with my own too. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you all have a peaceful and positive evening. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. We'll get into more of that stuff tomorrow night, that Enon stuff. Thank you again for all the links. And if there's any other links that you want to send me, go ahead. We'll check them out tomorrow night. Good night, everybody. Please be safe. Have a good Tuesday, and then we'll see you tomorrow night, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. Good night, everybody.